video is called Why Nike is Struggling, right?
Nike is the world's largest sportswear brand. This year, the company is on a mission to get its stride back.
L.
This week, the company posting its first earnings under new CEO Elliot Hill.
Nike beating on the top and bottom lines, but its sales fell 8%.
Analysts say it's
Crazy.
the beginning of
Who
a
would've
long
guessed?
turnaround for the company
Who
after what
would've
should have
guessed?
been an Olympic gold earnings summer.
It's not for Nike either.
Nike shocked the market.
Apparently,
Nike are in free fall after they missed on
What is
revenue last
happening
night
to
and cut
them?
their full-year earnings guidance. The shares down 20% are on pace for their worst day ever.
The plunge wiped out 20
Imagine becoming the new CEO and that's what you wake up to. The worst day ever. $28 billion.
billion of Nike's market cap.
$28 billion.
Deserve.
Stock is
That's all I
up
gotta
half
say. I
since the
mean,
all-time high in November of 2021. Like, what's happening? Is competition eating their lunch? I mean, that's
Hold on, I'm trying not to pause so much, but yeah, he's absolutely right. If you look at New Balance, if you look at Adidas, both of those companies, they've been doing quite all right. They've been doing fine. Like, it took Adidas a minute to bounce back after the Kanye West thing, but since then, they've just been on the up.
The company blamed its performance on everything from macro challenges to remote employees.
that's what they always
It
do.
turns out
Everybody
it's
else is
really
doing
hard
something
to
wrong.
develop a
We're
boldly
fine.
disruptive shoe.
We're doing it right.
on Zoom.
Everybody else is doing it
Experts
wrong.
say
They
this
just
was
don't
part of a
understand, so it's
years-long
their fault.
series of strategic errors.
When a $50 billion business sees a down 10% quarter, it's not an overnight occurrence.
Meanwhile,
No.
net sales of emerging competitors Hoka and On Running have both increased over 30% in recent quarters.
Look at that. Look at that. That's crazy. Now, well, here's the thing. Nike has to choose a lane. They want to be everything, right? And Adidas kind of does too, but Adidas not as much. Nike feels like it's like Nike wants to be basketball, running, casual, and streetwear all at the same time without ever choosing which one they want to be. Like, go back to being a sportswear brand, and you like, you know what I mean? You might get somewhere. Like, if you go to Hoka, you know what you're in for. Running shoes. Straight up running shoes. You're going to get a good pair of running shoes. And even with New Balance, they kind of really chose their own lane too with the dad shoes and casuals and everything like that.
Even established rivals like Adidas and Asics have seen growth while Nike has
ASIC's
declined.
going
Nike has fallen
crazy.
behind. And I think that's illustrative of the fact that they've had a bit of a lull when it comes to innovation.
Literally, because
If you don't have that,
I'm
then
trying
the
not to
kind
pause
of
it so
scale
much,
that Nike
but-
has achieved isn't worth much if you don't have the growth.
Now,
Bro.
all eyes are on Nike's new CEO, Elliot Hill.
it's because their products. I got a comment earlier today saying how nobody wants to pay $125 for a basic Nike hoodie, and they're absolutely right. If I'm paying $125, let's round it up to like it's gonna be $140 at the end of the day after taxes and shipping. I might as well go to like a one-off bespoke brand and get something that's real unique. That's gonna be higher quality because it will be.
Turn the company around.
Company veteran Elliot Hill is going to come out of retirement like Tom Brady to take the helm.
So what happened? And can Nike's new CEO get the iconic sportswear giant back on
Why
track?
do you think one person's gonna turn around a whole company like that? Like it's so much other
Since going
stuff.
public in 1980, Nike's formula of marketing around elite athletes helped it become a global superpower.
Get back to that.
So what makes Nike special? Well, that's, I think, part of the
Get
magic
back
of the
to
market.
that.
So much of retail is storytelling. Nike dominates, or historically has dominated, storytelling.
We came back from the impossible, from being broken.
And LeBron about to retire.
And that storytelling resulted
Yeah,
in strong sales.
2 years max.
By
LeBron's about to
2016,
retire.
Nike reported annual revenues of $32 billion. Nike
That's
co-founder
crazy.
and former chairman Phil
Phil
Knight
Knight.
decided he wanted to shift the company's focus towards digital growth before he stepped down as chairman in 2016. In 2020, former Nike board member John Donahoe replaced Mark Parker as CEO of the company.
Joining me,
I don't know,
is
it
John
just seemed
Donahoe.
like a
He is
bunch
the
of people
brand
out of
new
touch people.
CEO of Nike.
Thank you, Sarah. Thrilled to be here with you.
Nike,
Just a bunch of
under
out-of-touch ass
Parker,
people
They were hitting their stride
trying
when it
to
came to
sell the
design,
brand.
resonating with the consumer. The
Right,
next
Phil
wave of
Knight
growth
used
for
to be in
Nike
the
was going to be
streets.
in digital. Donahoe made
If you don't know, Phil Knight used to be like, he used to hustle to go sell the Nikes. Like, when they first started, they were selling strictly to runners. There's a whole thing behind the Onitsuga, the Tigers. I always forget how to say them. But they collabed with them first, and they wanted to make a shoe like that. And they were like, hey, oh yeah, we're Blue Ribbon Sports. And, they were very focused. They were in the streets. They were very in touch with who they were selling to.
Sense because his
When you got
background
a
is as a tech executive.
$100 billion
He was
company,
the CEO of ServiceNow.
how in touch are you going to
He
be
was the
with the
CEO
people who are
of
like the
eBay.
everyday
So
people that are
he
buying?
came from Silicon Valley.
Under Donahoe, Nike began moving towards a more direct-to-consumer model, or DTC, by pushing sales directly from its own platforms
Which
and
makes
stores.
sense.
What Nike did is they decided, let's focus on DTC. It's a higher margin business. And of course, they want to keep the best releases for themselves. And therefore, they pulled back from some of their long-standing partners, like
Why?
Foot Locker, for example.
Yeah. And we see where Foot Locker's at today. Just closing store after store after store.
For a while, the plan seemed like it was working.
Until the sneakers app came along
In
and
September
it destroyed
2020,
everything.
Nike reported digital sales growth of 82%, despite relatively flat revenue for the quarter compared to the previous
That
year.
feels like just
Because
more of a
COVID.
good
We all
timing
went into
thing more
lockdown,
than
and
something
Nike
they
digital
actually
online
did.
sales were
Yeah.
booming. They were ahead of the game when it comes to retailers
Yeah,
selling
see?
online because they were first at it and they did extremely well.
Exactly. This is
Encouraged
just
by the
like
success,
they were first to
Nike
market,
began
so it was
officially
working.
limiting ties with retail partners like Dick's Sporting Goods and Foot Locker, and cutting others out altogether. This was a bold move. As of June 2021, these wholesale partners still accounted for around 61% of Nike's sales.
So why would you
But
cut out
Donahoe seemed to double down
61%
on
of your
Nike's
sales?
digital
Like, why would you willingly do
On this
that?
call, Donahoe said the consumer is digitally grounded and simply will not revert back.
That's probably
Here's the
true.
problem.
But
Research shows that DTC doesn't always work the way businesses hope it will. A
right.
2024 study by BMO Capital Markets found that retailers who sell directly to consumers didn't actually see a relative increase in revenue, margins, or other profit markers.
Everyone thought, oh, if I eliminate the middle person, I eliminate the partner, I'll get their profits, I'll get their margins.
Yeah.
What we showed is it wasn't happening. We realized, no, you don't eliminate the middle person. You become the middle person. And the middle
Right. There's a lot. We saw that. We saw that with resellers. Resellers, they just added another middle person. And they're like, okay, we take this middle person out, and just another one comes right in.
person isn't necessarily a great place to be if you don't have their scale, if you don't have their expertise.
Right.
And so everyone had to absorb all the costs of running those operations. We found those brands did not.
And then the prices went up, and I got a worse experience.
Make it make sense.
See a relative improvement in their sales. They didn't see a relative improvement in their profits. It just didn't happen.
What Nike
Good.
thought was a sales boost from its new
Good.
digital model may have
So what
just
I'm
been
wondering-
unfortunate timing as the world went into COVID lockdown
That's what
and
I just said.
shopping
It's
went
just
virtual.
timing.
In 2021, as lockdowns lifted and consumers started to seek out in-store experiences, Nike
And now that people really about to just start dialing back on spending in general, Nike really about to get their asses beat. Like, it's about to be a tough time for them. And they haven't lowered their prices. I can go on Adidas website anytime and see something on sale. It doesn't matter what it is. Something's gonna be on sale. At the Reebok, oh, don't even get me started on Reebok. They're affordable. This might be my favorite shoe brand right now. Just how affordable and good quality that you're getting out of Reebok.
digital growth started stalling.
Reebok's still
In turn,
using real
the
leather.
company was undergoing layoffs and cost-cutting measures that it said were focused on shifting resources and creating
Heard that
capacity to
before.
reinvest in our highest
We've
potential
heard that
growth
before,
areas.
right?
It does appear, according to analysts, that Nike over-rotated towards direct-to-consumer. And then when it came back time for Americans and folks around the world to go shopping again
I do
after
that.
COVID, Nike just didn't have the same kind of priority and placement on the shelves. And it didn't have those styles that were really resonating with consumers.
Nike had also
Because they keep re-releasing the same thing. They're re-releasing the same thing. The product quality is going down and the prices are staying up. Why would anybody want that?
pulled back on developing its running business during a time when a record number of athletes joined the sport during COVID.
Run clubs in Austin were different. Like, everybody was joining a run club. It was crazy, all the run club content I was getting.
It had a big impact.
I wasn't
Nike
out there,
previously
but
was really
people
integrated
were.
into that running community, and always speaking to that community.
They came and
that
went,
gives
but-
you authority and credibility in the category. They pulled back on that.
Yeah,
At the
Nike
same
absolutely
time,
missed
Nike
out on
was
that
also
wave.
grappling with a slowdown in consumer spending.
They was trying to
There's no question Nike can blame some of it on macro, but it's the flatline growth in North America, which is more suspect and harder to blame on the macro, especially when Adidas is growing its chief competitor because it has more innovative styles that people are really gravitating toward.
Okay, so Nike got lucky with the whole everybody going kind of 2000s or dressing or whatever because they had a lot of popular shoes in the 2000s. They just re-released them. They didn't do anything new to them though. Adidas kind of went the other way. It's like, oh yeah, people kind of like this shoe now, like the Campus 2000s, I think. The Sambas. They're like, okay, people like these. Let's put them back on shelves, but also bring some different colorways, some newer colorways to them and change things up. Give them something, modernized classic type thing. Nike didn't do that.
It became clear that Nike not firing on all cylinders on the innovation front was really when the problem started beginning. And it's ceded market share to players, particularly in the running space, like On and Hoka.
Everybody wears these.
Bro, On,
This is the Hoka
I
Custom 9. It
I
is the
swear On
hottest
was
running
ahead of
shoes
the
on the
game, bro, with the running stuff. On was ahead of the game. The On Clouds, bro.
The core problem at the end of the day is that the North American consumer started seeing Nike as being a little bit cheapened because there was such an excess of product. And this goes back to the idea of when you have too much, you become less interesting, you become less popular, you become less cool. If there's no line outside of a club, most people aren't walking in.
Experts say the lesson learned
That too, they rode that fucking off-white wave into the ground, bro.
is for retailers to remember what they do best. Something Nike may have lost sight of in its effort to become a tech operation.
Being a technology company is not what makes you special. The mantra
look at most tech companies right now.
Everyone wants to disrupt.
In shambles.
If you're doing a really great job, sometimes disrupting yourself is a bad thing.
Yeah, why would you change if it's already working? Why would you change it?
I think is really important.
By early
Double down on what you're already
Nike
doing.
started quietly returning to wholesale partners.
You're also leaning into wholesale, which is a bit of a change from Nike.
But the wholesale partners aren't there now because they lost so much revenue when Nike pulled out. So she said.
It's been all about direct to consumer. Sell on your website, sell in your stores, and now there's a shift. Why?
Coming out of COVID, it was quite clear consumers were also moving back into physical retail. And we recognized that in our movement toward digital, we had over-rotated away from wholesale a little more than we intended. So
they did what every other company did, like with Peloton. When Peloton just upped all their stuff, they hired all those people. They're like, this is the new norm, 2020, we're going crazy. And then 2022 came and they were like, where'd all the people go? It was temporary. And they tried to make all these adjustments. Nike did the same thing.
We've corrected that. We're investing
It
heavily
just took
with our
4
retail
years to
partners.
realize to
Foot Locker's
do that.
relationship with Nike seems to have improved substantially. Nike needs them more
It took
than
4
Nike
years,
thought.
though.
That's very important. It ain't just all DTC.
In September 2024,
Like I said,
the
out of
company
touch.
announced Elliot Hill would take over for Donahoe as CEO.
Elliot Hill is someone that Wall Street doesn't know well, but internally at Nike, what I hear is he's known very well and very popular. This is a guy that started as an intern at Nike and has now worked his way all the way up to become CEO.
Bro,
He's
those
a
days are
32-year
over.
veteran. He also came up through the sales
You can't do
channel,
that
so there
anymore.
are great expectations
can't
that
work
he
your
will
way
know
up
what
to a
produces
company
a
like
hit
that
and
anymore.
will help turn
I
around
mean,
the innovation problem
can,
that
but-
Nike has suffered under John Donahoe.
In its most recent earnings call, Hill said the company will focus on clearing out excess inventory and reinvesting in sports marketing.
We lost our obsession with sport. Moving forward, we will lead with sport and put the athlete at the center of every decision.
This is
That's
not
what
a
I'm
story
saying.
that
It's not that
that's
hard. You
now
don't have to
we're gonna
hire
be
a new
cheering
guy
about.
and
This
pay
is gonna
him
be
$100 million to figure
plus
out, hey,
show me
maybe
how
we
you're
should get
gonna
back to what
compete
was
with
working.
all the smaller brands that have come from behind and the customers fallen in love with.
They need to reinvigorate. They need to remind people that Nike is special. And so I think if I'm Elliot right now, I think what I'm doing is I'm going back to my product people and I'm saying, I don't know what you've been working on in the past. Maybe you have something new, maybe you don't. Let's see, what is this innovation pipeline? And as soon as we can start telling people we have good product, then we will put really good marketing. Why does Nike win? Well, Nike has the largest research and development budget, and Nike has the largest marketing budget.
That doesn't mean anything, though.
Winning is winning.
As long as they use that effectively.
Bro,
It's very hard
that's
to
the
do.
thing.
It doesn't mean that new brands can't emerge.
Will
doesn't
they
mean that new
use it
brands can't take some
effectively?
share. But it means that Nike should always be able to get it back, as long as they have their eye on the ball.
I don't know about that. Shout out to MSNBC or CNBC, not MSNBC. Same company though, right? I don't. I don't think it's gonna be that easy, because not only do they need to do the market research and all this other stuff, which apparently they thought they did before, but it's been a cultural shift that I don't think they're gonna listen to anybody who knows what they're talking about. Like they probably got some young people in there saying, "Hey, this is what we need to do," but obviously they think just changing out the CEO is gonna solve their problems. It's not. It's gonna be a rough time for them, I think. Like, what can they do to really get people back on their side? They're overpriced. The brand's not that great. Nobody's really like knew something dropped. We don't really care that much. At least I don't. And I have a wall full of shoes, and I don't even care that much. We'll see, though. I'm very skeptical about just throwing money at it, because they're gonna waste. I feel like they're just gonna end up wasting a bunch of money. But it ain't my money, and I don't really care like that.